What is up, everybody? I'm Brian, this is the crew, and this is Youth Night! Alright, everybody, I'm so excited. We are going to play a game. We have high school versus junior high. These people, they're going to... They're ready to compete. But before they compete, we need to see who these people are. You have the man of mystery here over in the corner. So we're going to do high school versus junior high, just like always. If they win, you win. So let's start with our first contestant here. We are playing with Miss Lauren Eminger. Why don't you take your mask off, say hi to the crowd.
Hello.
Lauren, who are you playing for?
I'll be playing for Brooke.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, next let's go to the other high school contestant, Tyler Parker. Tyler, who are you playing for?
I'm playing for Eves.
Great. Going up against the junior high leaders with our brand new leader, Ellie. Ellie, show us your face. Who are you playing for?
What's up, y'all? I'm playing for Adela Rogers tonight.
Nice. Good for you, Adela. You got a real winner there.
My girl.
And last, but certainly not least, we have the cowboy himself, Chris Rogers.
Yeah.
Chrissy Poo, who are you playing for?
I'm playing for Tyler. Let's go.
You can't play for him.
No,
I'm awesome.
definitely not
Why
Tyler.
wouldn't you want to play that?
All right, the game is charades. We played this before. We have a few cards up here. We're going to call somebody up. So Lauren is teamed with Tyler. Ellie is teamed with Chris. Let us begin. So Lauren, would you kick us off?
Yes.
Lauren, a round of applause for Lauren,
Hey,
please.
good luck.
Okay, Lauren, I'm going to get out of your way. When you're ready, you take a card, and you may begin. We're waiting for our producer to tell us that
You're supposed to
we're
be
ready.
playing, man.
Ready?
No, he's not ready.
You're supposed to be playing, Ty.
Yeah, I'm reading the word of the Lord right now.
Yeah. He's keeping up with this whole this bit right here. All right, Lauren, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you have 45 seconds as soon as you take that card. Okay, ready, set, go!
Pig. Porcupine.
Shuffle, Cupid shuffle.
Oh, Cupid shuffle. Don't fall off the stage. Oh, bunny rabbit. Bounce. Glide. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Isn't that the Cupid shuffle? The Macarena. Dance. Dance moves. Oh.
Look at the camera, maybe they can guess what
Oh,
you have.
wow. Slide.
Oh, this is bad. You can also pass, Lauren.
Electric slide. It's not the electric slide.
What? Okay.
Slip and slide. Cha-cha slide. Cha-cha.
Nice.
Let's go. Good work. Good work.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Lauren, Tyler, that was pretty terrible. It took you a long time to get there, but you did get it. Let's see, Ellie, you think you can do better?
100%.
All right, Ellie, let's go. Let's see that competition burn. Okay, ready? Go. That's not acting.
Praising. Working.
Also, we can see your card. Don't show us your card. Look at the camera. Act.
Acting. Reading. Praising. Praising God. Praising the heavens. Worship. Worship music. Singing.
It's a song title. You're guessing a song title.
Oh, wow. Mary had a little lamb.
That's pretty rough.
Way in the manger.
2 seconds.
Oh, what?
What song was it, Ellie?
Haymaker!
Waymaker.
Dude, that was obvious, Chris. That was obvious.
Come on, junior hires.
Oh, that was pretty rough. Let's go. Let's continue to see how this plays out.
Don't call
Chris?
it comeback. Oh, it's both. Me and Chris.
Oh. Oh.
Gosh dang it. Guess whatever I'm guessing.
Do I guess two?
Wait, you're both taking. No, you're doing the same one.
Wait. Same one. Same one.
Same one.
One card. Here we go. Justin Bieber.
Shouting, praising the Lord. Shout to the Lord.
Shout-
Oh, let's go!
Oh.
Dang.
Listen to that song this morning.
All right.
That was for you, Eves. That was for you.
That was for you, Eves.
One's for you. Junior hires. Okay. Okay. Ready, set, go.
Mask. Oh, burden. Burden.
Carry your burden.
Burden on my back.
Zorro.
That's how I was gonna go. Batman. Kung Fu
Spider-Man.
Fighter. Jackie Chan. Wow. Lumbar support. Lumberjack.
Nacho Libre.
Oh. Yeah. Ninja.
Action fighter.
Karate. Ninja.
Action.
Ninja. Ninja warrior. Ninja.
Teenage Mutant
Crow.
Ninja Turtles.
Yes. Dang it. That was good. That was good to math.
Wow.
I hope you guys to watch. I hope you enjoyed that.
That's for you, Adela. My
Yeah.
turn.
Good Tyler.
Pretty good, guys.
Junior high.
Pretty good. Yeah. Lauren and Tyler, that was pretty pathetic. I
Acting
think
was
is the
pretty
word that I was
good.
We're
looking
just
for.
so used to being competitive with each other.
There was
that
so
we
much
can't be on the
smack
same
talk
team.
going back and forth too, and there
Yeah,
wasn't even a
that
competition.
was bad. Lauren, you've been here for years and years. You got showed up by Miss Newbie over here.
Yep, what can
Yeah.
I say?
I don't know.
I can't say anything.
I just want to thank God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you.
Well, okay.
No.
You guys lost, and so typically the loser has to face some kind of punishment.
But because the Bible says the first shall be last,
Yeah.
the winners have to take the punishment.
What?
Yes, yes.
Because
he's been reading this the whole time.
I just read it. The good book said it.
Good book said it, so we have to do it. Yeah. I was going to come up with a whole different reason for why we were going to make Chris and Ellie lose, but that's a good one. That makes a little bit more sense. So yeah, you guys lost, but you know what? There's a special punishment in mind, and the very first time I laid my eyes on this punishment, I thought, oh, I cannot wait to do this to Chris Rogers. So Chris, it didn't matter if you guys won.
What?
You guys were always going to lose in my book.
What?
So let the record be known, you guys were terrible at charades,
Okay,
but you guys
okay.
are still going to face the punishment anyway. We'll be right back for it right after this. All right, everybody, I am out here in an area with some things. I'm being vague because Chris Rogers is blindfolded and he has literally no idea what's about to happen. So like I said earlier, we came up with this idea a while ago, and as soon as we came up with it, I said, ooh, I want to do that to Chris Rogers. So I'm so thankful, Lord, thank you for this beautiful day when we finally get to see that wish fulfilled. Okay, Chris, let me explain this to you. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Chris, because you lost, well, you won, but
Yeah, we won.
because I want to see you punished, this is what's going to happen. Something is going to hit you
Oh.
in the face. And you're going to have to guess what that something is. And you have to be specific, or else it's going to happen again and again and again. Okay, hands on your back. You cannot flinch.
Ellie's a collegiate hammer thrower.
Oh, I should have flinched. All right, Ellie, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Chris, are you ready? Okay, Ellie, whenever you're ready, I'm gonna get out. Go for it. Okay, Chris, and no flinching. We're not gonna tell you when it's gonna hit you. Okay.
Ready? Open your mouth. Okay.
Chris, this is soda. It's just soda. You have to guess what flavor of soda it is.
Which one is this?
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah!
Got
You
it.
got it.
Got it.
Okay,
Dr.
okay,
Pepper
okay.
mixed with dog pee.
This one, ready?
It's a little weird. Coke.
Yeah!
Woohoo!
Alright. Here we go. This one's easy.
Chris, you can take your blindfold off. You can see your shooter. You still have to guess the flavor.
Oh, Mountain Dew.
Nope.
This is Sprite.
Yeah.
He's still gonna shoot you anyway.
Last one.
Confidence.
Last one.
Is it squirt?
No.
It's weird.
I was like straight up the nose.
I got my eye. Try it again.
Oh no!
Fanta.
Yeah!
Woo!
You did it.
Oh, Chris,
Nice.
I'm so sorry. I never felt more bad. You look like, are you okay?
We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, I know. Chris Rogers, everybody. We'll be right back right after this.
Today I'm going to be teaching you what's called the John 8 move, or as I like to call it, the draw and crawl. In John 8, the story goes, a bunch of mean fellas walked up to Jesus, being all judgmental and whatnot. And what did Jesus do to diffuse the tension and make those little mean men run back to their mamas? He drew something in the sand. So let's see this John 8 move in a real-life predicament. So joining us again is Taylor, but since we're role-playing, we're gonna call him Taser. So let's play this out. Taser's gonna approach me, and he doesn't look very happy. As you can see, he's showing signs of aggression. So instead of running or fighting, I'm gonna apply the John 8 move. Alright, so as you can see, drawing a smiley face instantly diffuses the situation. So when it comes to drawing something, it doesn't matter if it's a smiley face, their name in cursive, maybe a little frowny face. Basically, it doesn't matter. You can draw a cow, and that's how you do the John 8 move. I want to thank Taser for...
All right, everybody, welcome back. So, hey, we got our lovely crew here. I'm so excited to hang out with these guys tonight, to hang out with you. Be sure to comment along in the comments. Hey, you guys know this. If you've been a part of Foothill Students for a while, if you've been coming to Impact, then you know that we at Foothill Students are not afraid of questions. In fact, we love questions. We love the hard questions. And we're also not afraid to disagree. We think it's totally fine that Christian brothers and sisters can disagree and can get into it. Tyler right now is studying. He's getting ready for this. So what we want to do, we want to introduce a new segment called Fight Corner, where we're going to take some of the most debatable questions right now in politics, in theology, just in social ideas, and we're going to bring them here, and we're going to talk about them in an honest and open way. And so I'm going to say a prompt, and I'm going to have maybe two of you guys that start with Chris and Tyler. You will argue for, and Lauren and Ellie, you will argue against. Okay? All right, let's start with a pretty big one. All right. Now let's try to remain calm and respectful of people's views. We're all Christians here. This is a hot topic. But number one. Is water wet?
No way!
Please explain.
No way
You're
it's
supposed
wet.
to talk to me about this first.
Dude, it's clear as day that water
We
is
can't
not
be
wet.
disagreeing with each other. We need to fight
It's
against them.
clearly wet because it's water.
Okay,
It's a liquid,
water makes dry ice. Dry ice.
but it melts in it.
Okay, but when
So
you
it
get
can't be
water
wet if it's
on you,
dry.
then you become wet. So therefore, water is wet.
Agreed.
I think she won. Okay. Tyler was stumped. In fairness to Tyler, in case you didn't notice, Tyler woke up 3 minutes ago. That's why his hair is all like this. That's why he's wearing a shirt that he got from a 6th grade field trip.
8th grade.
Yeah,
8th grade
field
missions
trip.
trip.
That's why he's wearing a dish rag instead of a face mask. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you want to talk, you can pull your mask down. Let's go to our next really hotly debated topic. What is the proper way to eat rice? With a fork or a spoon? Go.
Chopsticks.
Fork.
No way fork.
No, definitely a spoon. Spoon?
Spoon? Elaborate.
Because with a fork, when you scoop the rice, or you can't stick it, because unless it's sticky rice, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about just regular rice. You stick it and it's going to just fall through. So with a spoon, you can actually scoop it. And I think that's a much more proper way and a better way. You get more rice.
The most proper way is with chopsticks, clearly.
Okay, let me give you guys all a cultural lesson here. People use chopsticks when they eat rice because they like to enjoy their food. And unlike Americans today, we just like to chomp it all in, but when we use chopsticks, it takes us a little bit longer. We can actually taste every bite.
Let the record show that Ellie agreed with me that chopsticks is the proper way.
So thank you, Ellie, for that lesson in rice supremacy. But the question was fork or spoon. Chris had the answer. Lauren said nothing.
Fork.
Those braids maybe are tied too tight. They're blocking some brain flow. So I think Chris answered that correctly. All right. Well, that was tough questions with Foothill Students. I think we called it Fight Corner 5 minutes ago. Whatever the segment is called, that was that. We'll be right back after this break. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Youth Night Live!
Woo!
We're back with our guest, Katie, Catherine, Rebecca Dubransky.
It's Kate.
Kate Dubransky.
Hi.
Katie, thank you so much for showing up and hanging out with us tonight. This is awesome. We're really glad to have you here. Some of you guys may know Katie pretty well. One of you knows Katie really well. You want to say hi to your daughter, Lily?
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily. Everybody in the comments say hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
She's a little shy, so it's my goal as youth pastor to bring her out. Anyway, back to Katie.
Yes.
Katie, thank you so much for coming here. So some people know you really well, but some people may have no idea who you are. So I've known you for a long time. I think you are an awesome person. I've often joked that you're the older sister I never asked for, but now have. But I really want I think you're an awesome person. So I really want our youth, our high school, junior high students to get to know you a little bit. So before we jump in with some of the questions we have for you, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, how you came to Foothill, why are you here, why should we care?
Yeah. I'm Katie. I am the groups minister here at Foothill Church, so that means I oversee growth groups, small groups, and some of our outreach stuff. So I think some of you have helped me at like Affordable Christmas or Day of Service, things like that. I've worked at Foothill Church for about 3.5 years. I am married to the one and only Steve Dubransky.
Love that dude.
Who also works here at Foothill Church. In fact, that's why we go here to Foothill, because we moved down to this area for him to be the youth pastor. So fancy that, full circle.
Now you are here. And what did you
Now I'm
do?
here.
So 3.5 years here at Foothill. What did you do before that?
Yes, I'm also actually a registered nurse. So I worked as a nurse for 10-ish years before that. And then kind of God called me into ministry, and there was an opportunity, and I went for it.
That's awesome. What's the craziest / grossest thing that you've seen as a nurse?
Well, I've definitely been peed on. So that was really gross. I've had...
Wait, hold on. How did that happen?
I had a patient that was not in his right mind, we'll just say. And sometimes for the patient's safety, you have to put some safe like restraints on them to like keep them from maybe pulling out like their IVs or their medicine. And one day I walked into this guy's room, and he had somehow come out of all of his restraints, taken off all his clothes, pulled out all of his IVs, and was just peeing around the room, kind of in circles. So that's an image you don't forget.
Huh. The way you're telling the story, I don't think it's painting the picture. I feel like I would have told this story in a way different way. This is really calm. This is probably how you are, though, as a nurse, right? Like, you see this stuff, this can't faze you.
And you walk home and you're like, Steve, I got peed on today.
Katie, you've been married to Steve. Some of you guys may know Steve. Steve was the youth pastor here for a while before me. I interned under Steve. Steve's the man. I love that guy. I love Steve. I remember he was like one of the first people that I met here. For you, though, with Steve, it was not necessarily love at first sight with Steve, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was, kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Steve and I were good friends for many years, and like the last year or two of our friendship, well, I mean, we're still friends, but the last year or two of us just being friends, we had a lot of people around us that were like, you guys should date, and it just got a little annoying because everybody was telling us that, and I'm like, why can't two people just be friends? This is great. So one Christmas break, I was still living in Colorado, going to school, and he was living in our hometown, and I came home for Christmas break, and he was like, hey, let's go to Starbucks and chat. And I was like, oh shoot, what is he gonna say? And so we went, and he was like, hey, I think we should date. And I said no.
Why did you say no?
I couldn't picture, he was my friend, he was like my buddy, and I couldn't picture dating him. Also,
so you could say you friend zoned Steve.
Yes, I friend zoned Steve.
That's the appropriate use of that term.
That is the appropriate use, yeah. So in my mind, we were just friends. We did not need to go past that. So yeah, then I promptly flew back to Colorado, and honestly.
So you broke his heart, then you left the state.
Yeah, I think the next day or so. And then I had a friend pick me up from the airport, and I told him this story. He knew Steve too, and he looked at me and was like, you are stupid. Steve is awesome. And I was like, wow, thanks for supporting me. But honestly, then God really worked on my heart over the next month. Steve, being the kind man that he is, continued to be my friend and talk to me on the phone. And about a month later, I had to kind of eat my words and said, can I still be your girlfriend? And he was like, no, I'm just kidding. He said yes.
So sweet.
Yeah.
What a guy, that Steve Dubransky.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Love you.
How long were you a youth pastor's wife? Because he was a youth pastor when you guys got married, right?
Yeah.
And even before then. And he stopped being the youth pastor a couple years ago. So like 10 years, right?
Yeah. However many years ago he stopped being that less that many from 14.
So I feel like we have a pretty unique perspective here on the
true.
outside, because
Yeah.
you weren't really like a youth leader during that time, right?
No, yeah, we had 3 kids.
Yeah.
So Lily was born like 2 years after us being married. So I helped with the youth group for those first 2 years, but then once I had, little kids and they like went to bed at the time youth group started, I wasn't able to be there. But I'd try and be involved, with like camps or
Gotcha.
baking cookies or something.
So from your perspective, as not a youth leader, not somebody who necessarily likes youth ministry culture, or not that you don't like it, but not like a part of that.
Yeah.
But as someone who's been married to a youth pastor for a while, maybe you can speak up for my wife and countless of other youth pastors' wives out there.
Yes.
What are things about youth ministry that need to stop, that need to end?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the culture of it. What are things that are like, you know what, Steve, this has got to go?
All-nighters. Lock-ins.
Lock-ins, really?
There is no need for a lock-in. Sleep is awesome. Everybody's better when they get a full night's sleep. There is nothing good that happens after midnight. There's no reason to do a lock-in. When Steve would do a lock-in, I would be like, all right, you're on your own, bud. And he would come home the next day, super tired, and want to sleep. And I'm like, that was your choice. You did not have to do a lock-in, but you chose.
But it wasn't his choice, though. Like, it was his job, right?
Yes, but you could totally do youth group without a lock-in, right? Maybe not. You guys might disagree. I don't know. I really place a high value on sleep, though.
So when Steve would come home, like, exhausted because he hasn't slept in 24 hours,
Yes.
and he would, like, want to go and crash, you'd be like, no, buddy.
Yes,
you're
that's
on
true.
You're on duty.
Yeah. Or maybe it wasn't that, like, obvious, but he would lay down on the couch, and we had kids, and I certainly wouldn't stop the kids from, like, climbing
From jumping
on
on
him.
him. Yeah. Well, hey, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Katie. And we are back, Youth Night Live, back with Katie Dubransky. Katie, again, thanks so much. Fun talking about what you would change about youth ministry and talking about all these things. Well, Katie, I want to ask you a question that we've asked all of our guests so far. This being youth group, this being junior high and high school, and a lot of you guys, let's face it, are weird. You have no idea what you're doing right now. You have no idea what your identity is. I hope that you find your identity in Christ. But you're like, hey, am I a jock? Am I a nerd? What am I? What am I supposed to be like? And so what I like to do is I like to ask these seemingly normal adults kind of how you got. Were you always normal? What were you like? So Katie, my question, what were you like when you were in junior high, high school? Yeah, what were your likes? What was your personality like? What was Katie like?
Yeah, I was a pretty quiet kid. I was a good student. I was pretty mild-mannered, which somehow changed along the way. I don't know. It's like I exploded out of my shell in college, maybe.
Yeah, you're not quiet.
I'm not.
You're one of the loudest people in the office. What was the other thing? Shy or
mild-mannered?
Mild-mannered. No, you're very rude.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Just kidding. That's not true.
No.
Yeah.
So I was a good student, quiet kid. Had a good group of friends. When I was younger, we moved around a lot. So it wasn't until about junior high, early high school that I really kind of started to establish like a good group of friends that I had been friends with for a few years. But I also wasn't a Christian. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. We were following the rules was really important to us. So like get good grades, don't, get in trouble at school, and do what you're supposed to. And that was kind of the mantra that we lived by for sure. So
you would have been labeled as a good kid, right? Most people, yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you think of yourself at that time, like on being a good kid? Like, would you compare yourself to other people?
Yeah, I think I felt I was very aware of like not being criticized for like doing anything wrong. So I definitely wanted to, and I think that was an effort also to not stand out, right? Like I just wanted to be good enough to like not be on the side that did anything wrong, but I kind of didn't really want to stand out too much. So kind of just stay in the middle lane, stay in your lane. But yeah, I was being right and being like good, following the rules was that was what I judged like if I was doing the right thing by.
So you weren't a Christian, so I'm curious, so what happened? Can you give us a quick, what happened? How did you become a Christian?
Yeah, my junior year in high school, I started dating a boy. That was probably too early to start dating.
Scandalous,
so, yeah. But through that kind of met a new group of friends, and they were all Christians. And so a girl that was, dating one of my boyfriend's friends invited me to youth group, actually. And I just said, sure. Like I'd never been invited to youth group before. I literally didn't know about Jesus, and that, a lot of you guys who are in youth group now probably take for granted the fact that you know that there's a God who sent his son to die on the cross for your sins. And I had never heard those words before. So I was excited. So I went to youth group and actually went to they had a small group night and then they had the big youth group night on a different night. And so I went to the small group first, actually. And so it was just girls, high school girls, and there was some awesome leaders there who really took me under their wing. And they were like, well, this is what Christians do when we read our Bibles. And they taught me how to read my Bible. And
That's awesome.
I just jumped right in. And so it was probably maybe 6 months before I really was like, yes, I believe this. I want to trust in Jesus and follow him. But even in those 6 months, there wasn't really a point where I was hesitant. I was it was like my eyes were open to that there's a God and he loves you and he wrote this Bible to tell you about himself. And so from there on I was on track.
What was that like for your family? So were you the first one in your family to really get to know Jesus?
Yeah. So I have one sister. She's 2 years younger than me. So my junior year in high school, she was a freshman. And really kind of simultaneously, she was in a group of friends that were also all Christians. And so I can't remember exactly, but a few months later, maybe after I became a Christian or had started going to youth group, she also started coming and became a believer. And then actually when I was in college, my parents got baptized in the same church. So,
no way.
Yeah. So God kind of worked in what I guess felt like a backwards way, but in an awesome way.
Yeah. So I'm curious. So this is a group of friends that you had that were Christian. Mm-hmm. They invited you to church. Did they kind of do any other form of evangelism? Did they talk to you about stuff, or was it simply they just invited you in and then it kind of just grew from there?
Totally just invited me in. They were just like, hey, youth group's really fun. You should come. We do this every week. You should come.
Yeah.
And then once I had been there for a little while and they knew I had heard things at youth group, they then kind of asked some questions or said oh, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. But really it was mostly just them inviting me and I went and it was fun and I thought, yeah, I could come back here again.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I heard I grew up in youth group. My youth pastor all the time was just invite people. We've told you guys, invite people. And I'm kind of that's never going to do anything. But that simply just that invite kind of literally changed your life, right?
Literally changed my life. It changed the whole trajectory of my life. And it's crazy to look back. Now I work on staff at a church. And the Lord worked in that way to, open my eyes to see him. But it was just a friend inviting me. It was not this thorough gospel presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Katie, high school, it was a while ago. Junior high was a while ago.
Yes.
Resisting the urge to make an old joke here. But
just a few years ago.
Yeah, just a little bit. But if you could go back to 12-year-old Katie, 13-year-old, 15, 16-year-old Katie, what kind of stuff would you say? What advice? And we've been asking every guest this too.
Yeah.
What do you either wish you knew back then, or what would you tell students now?
Yeah, well, I think I joked with you, I would have told myself about Jesus because
right.
I didn't know him in junior high. But I think for those of you, or, say I did know him, I think one of the most life-changing things that really I've just started to really learn in the last few years is kind of where I fit in God's story and how, and who God is in that story of his creation, and what I mean by that is I think I spent a lot of time even reading the Bible looking for okay, well, how's this going to help me?
Right.
And what am I supposed to learn out of this? And it was all about me. I read the Bible through my own lens of God should be speaking to me right now about me. And really in the last few years, I feel like I've learned a lot more about who God is and how, his word and tells us, and this whole world tells us about him and who he is. And so when I learned that the Bible is really the story about God, and that it's about how he created and how he redeems his people and he calls to people and he will one day restore the earth. And it's all God that gets the glory. I've started to learn more about who he is. People might say the attributes of God or characteristics about him. And as I've learned about who God is, I certainly have a lot to learn, but I've learned, I've seen in myself how in the past, I kind of look at the world, and especially my own hard things that I go through, and I've allowed those things to kind of teach me who God is. Does that make sense? So if I have friends that let me down, and I can get really sad by that. If somebody rejects me or doesn't live up to like what kind of friend I think they should be, then that almost makes me place that view on God and like, oh, maybe I can't really trust God either. Like, is he going to also let me down? But when I can approach the world and spend a lot of my time learning about who God is and who the Bible says that he is, so things like God is faithful, God never changes. He loves me and cares for me. He actually has grace for me when I mess up. And then I start to look at people through that lens. So I know who God is, and now I can then go and approach like the hard things in my life and have like this foundation of who God is to stand upon. It doesn't take away any of the hard stuff, but it changes how I look at it. Talked a lot there.
It was great. That's awesome. Yeah.
I feel it's really changed how I look at the world. And I mean, even now as we go through like crazy things in our life with a pandemic and we can't even see people in person, it reminds me that there is a God who created this world and who cares about his creation and has a purpose for us while we're here. And that changes the way that we walk into hard stuff.
So Katie, to kind of summarize, you would say, so you, before, when you were still a little bit more immature in your faith, you would kind of think, hey, how does God fit into my story? How does God fit into my life?
Yes.
Right? Did you ever do the whole like, God, what do I do with this? And then like randomly open to a part of scripture?
Oh, totally.
That's kind of how you read the Bible, right?
Yeah, or like, God, what's your will for my life? Like, there must be this specific fill in the blank, like specific college I should go to or specific thing I should do. And it must be here.
But now it's reversed, right? Now it's like, hey, God, how do I fit into your story? So let's be honest. Let's be real about this. We love ourselves, right? We love talking about ourselves. We like, going after what we want. It sounds like you're saying, though, it's better this way. This is the way it's supposed to be, of you figuring out, okay, how do I fit into God's story where he's the main character? Why? Why is it better when you're not the main focus? For you, I mean, just in a real practical, for Katie, how have things improved in your life when it's not about me, it's about God?
Well, because my emotions about things change like every 30 seconds. So when everything is based on how I feel about something or what I think about something, a lot of times we think like, oh, I think that, so it must be true, right? But my thoughts change literally every hour. And so then I find myself up and down and up and down and up and down. And there's nothing to like grab me and say, no, this is what's true. And so you can believe in this way, and then you can kind of jump off from here and have things to, I don't know, like judge according to that. So when I can start with, no, I have this rock that I stand on that is Jesus, and this is real. This is who God is. Well, God doesn't change. Like who he was when he created the earth is the same God who he is today. And so when I can look at that and say, this is what I can stand on, then it's not based on how even the right thing to do is not based on like how I feel in the moment or if I like something or not.
Totally.
Katie, thank you so much for sharing that stuff. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to play a game with Katie.
Woo!
We'll be right back. And we are back with Youth Night Live. We just had a really awesome conversation with Katie Dubransky. Katie, seriously, thank you so much.
So welcome.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah, I think it's always really good to hear things from a different perspective. So guys, I hope that was super helpful. Maybe even consider listening to that part again, because Katie said some really, really awesome stuff that I think is really, really good and really helpful. But we're done talking about serious stuff. Now is the time to play. Great face. Now we're going to play a game. Katie is competitive. I don't know if this is really something you can win, but this is something where we can laugh at you.
Can always give it a shot.
So that's going to be really fun. So we're going to play this game called Think Fast. So Katie, I have some deep, probing questions that I'm going to ask you.
I'm so
we're
nervous
going
right
to really
now.
learn and get to know you better. Here's the catch, though. I'm going to ask you a question, and you have to answer it right away. So it doesn't matter if it's wrong.
Okay.
If I ask you 2 + 2 and the first thing you think of is 5, that's fine. We just learned a little bit about your math skills.
Yeah,
So don't
okay.
worry about it being right or wrong. Just say the very first thing that comes to your
no.
head, and we're gonna see what we get. Sound good?
This sounds like something I'm gonna regret, but that's okay.
Okay, this is
All
Think
right.
Fast. We are gonna play. Katie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, remember, first thing that comes to your head.
Okay.
Who is your favorite child?
Ah!
First thing, come on.
Lily!
Oh, Nathan, Selah.
I love you guys.
What are cats made of?
Hair.
How old is Chris Lewis?
42.
No, he's not. DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
What is your favorite color?
Blue. It's not.
What would you give up first, coffee or sourdough bread?
Sourdough bread.
Okay. Do you really like Steve's bald head?
Yeah.
Oh. Can you do a handstand?
No. Mm-mm. Okay, Brian, my turn.
Okay.
You're in the hot seat now.
All
Change
right.
things up a little. I have 10 questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Who's your least favorite student?
Tyler Parker.
Who's your favorite Steve or Steven?
Stevie.
What's the chemical makeup of water?
Hydrogen peroxide.
Wow. Was it love at first sight?
For hydrogen peroxide?
No, for you and Steph. Was it love at first sight? Answer question.
I thought she looked normal, and nobody else did. So I sat next to her.
I just snorted. What would you give up first, your iPhone or your TV?
My job.
What do you really think about Ethan?
I love that guy.
If you could only eat one fruit for the rest of your life, what would you eat?
Lime. I like lime.
So weird.
Yeah.
What is your favorite word?
Fart nugget.
What is your least favorite beverage?
Apple juice.
If you were stranded on a tropical island, what 2 things would you want with you?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, wait, that's weird. No.
All right, that's it.
I guess that's it, okay. All right, guys, that is it for Katie. Katie, always fun hanging out with you, playing games with you. We'll be right back with thank you notes. All right. Well, all right, my dear, lovely blueberry muffins with pecan crust and festive party wrapping. Now is the time for us to say goodbye. But of course, before we say goodbye, it's a time of gratitude. As you all know, this show gets bigger and bigger every week, which means the people and events and divine intervention involved gets bigger. And I want to take time to thank that. So let's write some thank you notes. Can I get some thank you notes music? Thank you. Thank you, coronavirus uptick, for giving me another valid excuse to stop going to the gym. And I was this close to rejoining. I was just about to do it, and then Governor closed everything down. And thank you, brand new volunteer, Ellie Alexander, for your fresh, youthful energy. I look forward to seeing the junior hires slowly suck that away from you as you serve with them. And finally, thank you, US government, for scaring me into deleting TikTok. Since then, I've done things that I haven't done in months, like taking a shower, reading my Bible, and meeting my son. Well, that's it, everybody. I love you guys. That was East Night Live. We will see you next week.